Hey guys, before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Drunken Gentlemen, the drinking club with killer teas, and their newest drop, The Drunkest Place on Earth. And if you're a big Disney fan like I am, this tea is perfect for park hopping with a buzz. First timers get 20% off with the code WELCOME, but my Taproom listeners, you guys get 25% off. Just use the promo code Taproom Podcast at checkout and stay classy and never spill. And now, on to the episode. All right, and we're back. This is episode 118 of the Taproom Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike. Oh man, it's Saturday in the early afternoon. Yesterday, I'm actually out in Phoenix right now. Came to visit my cousin Jamin, and then came out here for my little cousin's high school graduation. Man, last night was fun. We had a graduation party for him. Well, I didn't have it. Like his parents threw it for him. They had a taco man, some good stuff, and it was just overall just a fun night. But, I love being out here, especially being able to visit my cousin Jamin and the fam, and it's just the best, man. Didn't actually get the chance to go to any breweries, not going to be recording out here or anything like that. But yeah, this week's episode is with Jonathan Young of at AZ. So he actually has a brewery tour, but on Instagram, it's AZ Brew Hopping or at AZ Brew Hopping. Sorry, he might be a little hungover. But no, it was such a fun conversation. And it was funny because I recorded this the Monday after WrestleMania. And I was really tired that day, but man, it was such a fun conversation. And even though I was tired, it brought me right out of it. It was just, Jonathan's just a really, really good dude. And I'm super stoked for you guys to hear his story, just wanting to start his own business and stuff like that. And just, testing himself and getting all these, I don't want to get into it too much. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was just a really fun episode. And man, we just had a great time talking. He's just a really nice guy. I did want to get out there and meet him. I was a little hungover. Well, still am a little hungover, but I was a lot worse this morning. But yeah, so what else we got before we jump into the episode? So congratulations to Tyler for graduating. Like I said, I love being out here in Phoenix. My cousin actually got because he has a kegerator over here. So he got a brewski, and on tap it was a hazy. I'm not the biggest hazy guy, but I figured, I'm out here in Arizona, but still want to try it. And so it's called Church Music. It's a Juicy L Hazy IPA by the Shop Beer Co. in Tempe, Arizona. So let's go ahead and give it a little swigski. Oh, damn. Fuck, that's pretty damn good. All right, well, I know I'm going to be drinking tonight or today. About to jump in the pool in a little bit. Also betting on some sports because it wouldn't be Mikey coming to Arizona without laying down some bets. Sure, I went 0 for yesterday, 0 for 4 on my parlays, but it's okay. I got 8 more parlays going today, baby. Twinkle, twinkle. I don't give up. I just keep on fighting. Keep on keeping on. What else we got? NHL playoffs. Toronto forced a Game 7. Today is, I think, Game 6 with Winnipeg and obviously Dallas. What else is on the agenda? Everybody else is advanced, though. Sorry for the burp there. Let's see. What else we got? Oh, yeah. And also, like I said, this will be a shorter intro. We're going to be hanging with the fam. And then, yeah. But yeah, the website, Taproom. If you want to see, if you haven't checked out the new website yet, you definitely should go to taproompodcast.dashery.com. So Dashery is DASHERY. So taproompodcast.dashery.com. Or you could also just go on the Instagram, click the link in the bio, and it'll take you right to the site. It is a lot easier to navigate now. And there's some new merch on there. What I'm going to start doing, so any of the designs I have on there currently, well, the older ones, those are going to be gone soon. And I'm going to start adding new ones. And I'm not going to say there may be a Pokemon themed shirt come in. There's already a Galaxy Not So Far Away shirt. just a lot of cool stuff coming soon. So, let's see. But yeah, man, I keep thinking about that beer. That beer's good. I'm gonna go jump in the pool. It's supposed to be a really beautiful day. I'm gonna jump in the pool, watch some sports, and just enjoy the day. Enjoy the day with the family. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the interview with Jonathan. Like I said, and just take the second here to say, Jonathan, thank you, man. I really appreciate you. It was just a really fun conversation. Can't wait. I'll be back out here in September, so we got to have a beer, maybe grab a bite or something like that. All right, man. Well, thank you again. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Stay tuned for the outro. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I'm your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have John Young out of Tempe, Arizona. How's it going today, man?
It's going good. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Oh, no, thanks for coming on. I wanted to, so, you reached out a few weeks ago and we were able to get it all planned out. Worked out perfectly because we're both off on I'm off on a Monday and you had some free time. So just a little backstory for you. Like, you have the Instagram Arizona Brew Hoppings. You do brewery tours out in Tempe, Arizona. How did that all come about for you, man?
Yeah, it kind of fell into my lap, sort of. I did a staycation here in Arizona a couple of years ago, and I stayed at one of our local resorts we have here, and I really wanted to do, like, what's the thing that I haven't done in Arizona? Like, show me stuff that we don't really do.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a lot of good tourism options, a lot of, like, just go see what the locals are doing. And so I kind of, it bugged me for about a year and a half, and I went through a couple of options of, like, how I could solve that problem. At the time, I was doing special projects with Carvana, and so I
Okay.
kind of had that experience of, like, building the business out of nothing. And this kind of landed in my lap where we were talking about this for a while, and this one, me and my friends, it was just sitting around a campfire, shooting the shit, and we started. It kind of came up like, hey, this is something we could do because there's so many great breweries here. And it kind of, from there, it just took me about 9 months to really decide what I was going to do. I travel a bit. So I took a trip
Okay.
to Iceland, and their tourism goes, like, directly to every hotel and, like, just picks you up, you go. It's so easy to do.
Okay.
And that was, like, the final linchpin for me to see how, like, what does it look like when it's done well? And then in July of last year, we went ahead and I went full in, and then we started operations in November. So we've been operating for about, I think, 6 months and 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. And I wanted to pick specific breweries that, I would drink at it, places I would go to, that locals go to, that win awards, that put in the effort to make, like, it a great experience just for their own customers and for no other reason. And those were who we wanted to bring in. And it was a lot of building those relationships with our breweries and our partners. And it's really been, like, an incredibly rewarding experience coming from different backgrounds of, like,
I bet.
it is much less dog eat dog world
Mhm.
in the brewery industry than it is in a lot of other ones. So it was very refreshing for myself.
Well, for sure. And that's one thing I always say about this industry. That's why I think it's one of the best industries out there, because everyone usually, well, for the most part, wants to help one another and wants to help one another succeed.
Yeah, we see collaborations all the time here. Good ones, not, like, I've got I've got like 4 partners right now, but they all do anywhere between, like, 1 to 5 collabs every quarter. So, like, just depending, like, I've got one right now that's got 5 collabs on for spring, and they're doing almost,
Wow.
like, right about 1 a month. They're working with someone. So it's like, that's just very normal.
That's awesome, man. And even for like the tour process, like, how does that your day start when it comes to stuff like that?
Man, those are my best days. So
Yeah.
when I have a guest, we've got a tour. I take parties as low as 1, as high as 35.
Okay.
And I drive a van I have a Sprinter van. So we'll pick up guests at their hotel or their Airbnbs, and then we just start them on a 4-hour tour. And we start at, I usually pick them up 11:45 to 12, and it's kind of like an afternoon event. So we'll do, like, little bit behind the scenes at two of our locations. You get a chance to see
Okay.
how it's made, sometimes get to meet a master brewer. And then we'll do pints at like, I call it an Arizona beer garden. It's a,
Okay.
it's an air conditioned, 40-foot ceilings,
Okay.
open air feeling, but definitely not open air. We like our air conditioning out here.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll do that. And then we end it at a cidery. We get food involved. So we do appetizers on the third stop. So we try to make it where it's as all inclusive as I can get it for our customers, so that it really feels like it's an extension of their trip or it's an extension of their hotel. And that's how we intended. That's how we built the entire thing, was so that it can basically just feel like the customer gets, a real chill opportunity to just relax for a day. That's what we look for.
That's awesome, man. And I wanted to ask you too, because I mean, I'm pretty familiar with Phoenix. Tempe, not as much, but I get out to Phoenix quite a bit. I go to Wren House, been to
Oh, I love Brewing House.
like Huss, also recorded at PHX and a couple other ones out there. Or Oso was another great one as well. What say in Tempe / like Scottsdale? Because how far is that from Phoenix?
So from downtown Phoenix, I'm probably 25 to 30 minutes
Okay.
in general. I have one brewery that's closer. The cidery is about 15 minutes away right now.
Okay.
But the rest are probably 25 to 30 minutes from downtown.
Okay. Gotcha. And like what breweries do you usually frequent, or like what on the tour?
Yeah. So I started Catalyst Crafted Ales. They're one of our newest
Okay.
breweries in the state.
Wow.
When I first, they've been a great partner to us. They opened up the door for us. I was an outsider, and they were one of the people who opened the door for us to have the conversation. But they're one of the newest breweries. Will Waltherson and Alex Baldwin are the head brewers there.
Okay.
And they've brewed at Wren House, Roses by the Stairs, Superstition. I think one of them brewed at Four Peaks. They've brewed in San Diego. These guys have been brewing for years. And I start there, even though it's a young brewery, they came out swinging 14 months in operations, I think this week.
Wow.
And they have 11 state and national awards so far. So they really came out to let everybody know that they had arrived.
Okay.
And so I like to start my tour there. They also usually let us do a brew house tour with our group in that first stop. So it's a great opener. Then we go from there. We do our pints at the beer garden I mentioned called Goldwater. And
Okay.
Goldwater's been around for about a decade. They do a really great, it's such a fun experience. I'll tell everybody to do a pick your own pint spot, because then it kind of customizes it a little bit.
Yeah.
But they focus on a lot of IPAs. They have I think all 5 of the IPAs pretty much on tap at any time. They've got hazies, West Coast, New Englands. I like their New Englands a lot.
Okay.
So they do a really good job with that. And then they have a good guest tap line, and they also focus a lot on a lot of collabs. So if they don't specifically brew something, they're going to collab and they're going to have it on their tap line.
Okay.
And so then you come in and you can have a good experience. Like you can order a pint, you're going to get something that you're going to appreciate.
Oh yeah.
Then we go to Fate Brewing. Fate has 3 locations. We go to their main brew house. It's right across the border into Scottsdale. So it's like Tempe, Scottsdale. It's only about a 15-20 minute drive. And then just this week, my last location, which is the cidery, Six Bird Cider Company.
Okay.
They're the number 1 on Untapped in the state, number 6 in the country.
Wow. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. They make exceptional cider.
I bet.
It is. I have turned stout drinkers into cider drinkers on that last stop. So that's been like, I'll text their brewer. I'll text Jared and be like, "Hey, this just happened again." He's like, "Yep, thank you."
Yeah. Just converted another one.
So, and that they just moved to Tempe, but I've been going to Arcadia, which is just north of downtown Phoenix. It's like between Phoenix and Scottsdale. So they had a tap room in Arcadia, and then they just put in a new brewery and tap room in Tempe. So in about 2 weeks, I'll probably start attending that one. They got to get out the opening jitters and, get all that out of the way.
Of course.
They just opened their second location. I think they're 6 years old.
Wow. Man, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, I'm familiar with some of the other ones that closer to, because my cousin actually lives out in Anthem.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, anytime I'm out there, I try to get a new brewery to record with or anything like that. I mean, because the beer is great, man. It's just
Yeah.
like, and that's the one thing I love about craft beer. It's like anywhere you go, you can find a good craft brewery, you know?
Hmm.
Doesn't matter how hot it is out there, but
Yeah.
if it's, hey, it's air conditioned inside and you can, pound a bunch of them. So,
That's what I love. And I think what you kind of mentioned some of these others that I do love, and I love Wren House. I can't open in downtown Arcadia yet.
yeah.
There's a hotel competition thing going on between Tempe and Phoenix, so
Okay.
I got to wait probably another year before I can move into downtown. But I love it going. My wife drinks. She's also my co-founder. She's a stouts and porters lover. And
Okay.
I don't know if you've had any of Wren House's porters, but they are like they made a pecan pie porter last year that was
Ooh,
solid.
damn.
It was solid. I would drink that again. And I'm not even a porter guy. I just like
Yeah.
I can appreciate when someone has like they nail their that one. You're like, yep, I could drink.
100%. I feel like there's a style, like, I mean, like, there's a specific sector because I love porters as well. But like, say there's a porter out there for everybody, just like there's a pilsner out there for everybody. The West Coast are hazy. Some of them are like introductory. I almost feel like not introductory beers, but I mean, there's a beer out there that's kind of like a gateway beer to get somebody into it.
Yep. Yep.
And what are your favorite styles?
Oh man. So I think mine's been evolving. I pretty much never like I love a pilsner just because it's clean, it's
Hmm.
crisp. But I judge I judge a brewery on if they can do an amber or a red.
Okay.
Uh, And that's probably not fair, but I like the complex layering in it. And I feel like if you can pull off that, then I'm like, okay, I can appreciate that you put in the effort to get all that layering. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and try some of your other styles too.
Oh yeah. That's it for me. I'm a pils. It's usually a pilsner or lager. I'm gonna judge by.
Hmm.
But then, because I know if that's good, like I'm probably gonna enjoy their West Coast. I'm probably gonna enjoy their other stuff. But yeah, that's usually like my go-to order.
Yep. I think it kind of depends on like I don't order. I think it also like in the Phoenix area, I'm learning more about. I thought I was really well rounded in it, and I got to go explore all these different breweries and like really deep dive what I thought I knew. And there are some people who are doing some exceptional work in a specific style or in a, you know, and it's like, it's really cool when you find, you're like, wow, that's not something you see very often. Like Phoenix doesn't make hardly any Scotch ales or almost any British beer in general.
Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 breweries that right now are just like, that's what we do. And it's like, that's exciting. Like you can go get something completely different and it's well done.
Yeah. I'm still brewing like ESBs and all that sort of
Mhm.
stuff too. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are, I mean, you don't see a ton of them on menus even out here. They just don't, I guess, they don't move well enough. But I mean, out here, it's all it's a lot of West Coast, ton of hazies, stuff like that. Was there a beer for you, like, oh, maybe like your first craft beer you had, or maybe that you remember, and then like one that you maybe made you feel like, dang, this is what beer could be?
Yeah. That's a good question. So I think my first, I got to go back in my memory because like Phoenix started exploding with craft beer back when I was in college, like just starting. Like the big
Okay.
breweries were just getting started. So 15 years ago, the main breweries you could visit or like actually go were Four Peaks. So Four
Okay.
Peaks Brewery, they've sold 2 of their lines to Bush now, but the original Kilt Lifter
Hmm.
was a take on a Scottish ale. I liked it. It was my gateway to like potential craft beer.
Yeah.
I didn't start really learning about craft beer until I moved out of state. So I was in the Army for a bit. I moved to Tennessee and to North Carolina, but there was this period in Tennessee where I had done the Bourbon Trail and
Okay.
I was kind of like exploring these other craft options. And I
Yeah.
started looking at some breweries there. And I came across one called, I think it was Black Horse. It
Okay.
was Horse. It was in Clarksville, Tennessee. And so it's like right in the town I was in. And it was the first time I had an amber that I went, oh, that's what you can like, that's what's completely different about like, this is something I love about this. And then I started like playing with that idea and like learning more. I never really got on the general IPA train. I really don't do West Coast, and I really don't
Okay.
do these or sours for that matter. Like, you put
Mhm.
any of those three in front of me, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate what's here, but it's not like I'm gonna probably love the pint. But I also like I've also learned more recently, like, I really enjoy a New England IPA. Just the subtlety, the way how it kind of dies away, like the bitter up front and then kind of pulls off. I like that. So I think it's evolved. Like, my taste has evolved a lot on it, but I think Black Horse in Clarksville probably gave me like, this is true good craft beer. And then I think Four Peaks in college was like, this is this idea and like the start of that.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man. And you mentioned North Carolina, so you were in the Army. Were you in Fayetteville?
Yeah, I was in Fayetteville.
Oh, okay. I went out there a couple times. I wasn't personally in the Army, but my brother-in-law was, and I'd go out there and visit my sister and them out there, and we'd go to, I think it was like called Beef O'Brady's and a,
Hmm.
a bunch of other
Yeah.
places to go get beers out there. So,
Yeah, there's some
yeah.
interesting spots up there. I lived in Hope Mills, which is like right
Okay.
outside Fayetteville, and there was this little brewery. Man, what was the name of that? It was right across the street. It's the only time I got lucky enough to live like within walking distance of a brewery in my life. And it was this tiny little, I think it started with, I think the word dog was in it, and I don't remember the name. But it was a really interesting brewery, but that was like a really intimate feel. Like, you go in, they've got the barrels sitting around, like you're part of the brewing experience. That was like the first time I actually got to go in a location that was very like it's very intimate to the customer. You're very much part of the process.
It's awesome. And when did you move out to Tempe?
2019.
Okay. So everything like the whole when did like that nugget just kind of first like kind of creep into your head though? Like, man, I started like quitting your job, starting a new business and stuff like that.
So I think I'd known I wanted to start a business for since 2018. I had helped, like, while I was still in the Army, I'd helped a couple of friends get their business off the ground, just like casually helping or putting in a little bit of effort here and there. And I found that like the autonomy was awesome. I loved
Yeah.
the idea of that. And then when I got out, I sharpened my skills. I worked for companies where I could take on hard projects or work on their executive projects or their special projects, and just worked really hard to like understand what it takes to build that. And then when I hit a point where I kind of had a crossroads while I was building this out, which was move up and out to a role offer, which was a great role and for me, but it was an increase in hours. And I was like, yeah, but I got this idea I'd been working on, and I'd already
Hmm.
written up a plan for it and ran it through some people, and it was holding water. It needed a lot of refinement, but it was the general idea, the work of like, is this a viable business? Is this something that's actually gonna function? That that was I kind of started that in January, or probably December 2023 was like really when I kind of wrote it down and started like talking to people about it. So it took me probably 7 months from that point to go like, yes, this is viable enough. I have enough research. I've put this in front of enough people to like, I believe that it has enough wings where I can get it off the ground. And I think that's there's definitely, different ways to start businesses. I'm, I like to mitigate my risks. So I put
Yeah.
it in front of as many people as I could and talked about it from that standpoint. But it took me probably from like trying to solve the problem, which I think started in 2021. Yeah, I think it was 2021 was when I tried to when I had that staycation. So that was 2 years of what would I want to see in Arizona, of
Yeah.
like just thinking on that and like working through that and like pitching ideas to friends or coworkers and just like pitch just ideas of like, hey, what if we had this, or how do people feel about this? And as this one kind of came to it, the vision got more and more clear from like December 2023 and then launch in July of 2024.
Okay. Man, that's cool, man. I'm gonna have to definitely check it out the next time I think, well, I'm gonna be out in Phoenix next month sometime. I want to say around the 17th. I don't know how much free time I'm gonna have because that's my cousin's graduation. But I'm definitely gonna love to grab a beer with you, man. If
Sure.
you're in the
Love
if you're
to.
in the area.
Absolutely. Just shoot me a DM or email, whatever you want. But yeah, shoot me something. I'm happy to grab a beer. If you got a whole afternoon, let me know. I'll throw you on a tour and we'll just have some fun together.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet.
But yeah, let me know when you're in town. Definitely grab a beer. There's so many great spots around here for one too.
Oh, I bet. One of the things I want to one thing too, because I was curious about because obviously like when it comes to breweries, there's so many like regulations and codes and stuff like that, right? So I was wondering, like for the business plan for you for like doing brewery tours, is there still that same kind of regulation, or what is it? What's it like?
Oh man. So this has been I've finally gotten it solved, okay? But I'm in this
Yeah.
weird gray area because I'm technically a livery. So I'm technically a cab or an Uber.
Okay. All right.
However, I have all of this liquor that we're handing out to customers. And also we're feeding them. So am I a food tour? No, I don't land in
Yeah.
that. But they don't have really like an alcohol tasting, like according
Got it.
to like taxes, according to like my founding, all of it was different. Even my insurance, I had to like find like what's the subcategory that I can technically claim I'm doing, because I'm not a driving tour, I'm not a livery,
Yeah.
I'm not an alcohol consumption point.
Yeah.
And so there's all of these fine things. There was a very brief point about 6 weeks where I was waiting from a confirmation from the Arizona State Board of Liquor Licensing as to did I have to resubmit all of my business paperwork as a traveling festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was, people were paying me and then I was giving them alcohol. So that was where the breaking point was. They're
Yeah.
like, how is this working? And so finally I sat down with the director of the state program. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to tell me, like, by regulation, who
Mm-hmm.
am? And so the state has decided I am a livery service,
Okay.
and I am not subject to alcohol licensing.
Okay.
However, all of my partners have requested that I take alcohol certs and serving certs, which and management
Just in
certs.
case, right?
Yeah, just to make sure that like I check the box on, and it keeps all of us just an extra layer safer. So happy to do all of that. And then we also have to do ID checks, and so I have to do ID checks and I have to store any ID scans.
Okay.
And so again, we're landing in this. You don't have to do that because you're a
Mm-hmm.
livery. It's because you're selling the promise of alcohol, which was why
Yeah.
I almost had to become rebranded as a traveling festival.
That's crazy. I just feel like, yeah, like it's funny how like there's like I guess maybe like the government sometimes they just don't like you can explain it to them like 1,000 times like what you're doing, exactly what you're doing, and they're like, I don't get it.
Yep.
Like, and it's like, what's there not to get? I mean, I don't know. And then the one thing I love about Arizona too is like that you can tell how much they care about breweries because the amount of breweries that you see when you're out there. Like there's some cities out there that just like, nope, not our cup of tea, get out kind of thing. But then that's why you want to go to those cities or those, those states where they're welcoming to, stuff like that, because they always like sometimes people put like the stigma of like, oh, it's like a bar. It's
Mhm.
it's a brewery. It's different. It's not like, you're going and getting shit faced on. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people out there, right, that will do those things. But I mean, it's not like you're taking shots of tequila or shots of whiskey and stuff like that.
It's really interesting, too, that I love what Arizona is generally more open. And I think in two ways. One, just like it takes time to get your licensing, but once you're set
Mm,
up, you're good. But the other part is they don't force them into areas where there's not going to be customers. There's no foot
mm-hmm.
traffic, right? So I know some cities like, hey, you can have a brewery, but you have to be in the industrial area because you're
Yeah.
brewing.
Yeah.
They don't force that.
That's
It kind
great.
of is a choice. Some people are in the industrial area because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Some, just like for spacing, some
Yeah.
are not. So you have that choice. But I was talking to a gentleman from New Jersey on my tour maybe a month and a half ago, and he was saying that, there they can't have breweries, they can't serve food.
Yeah.
And so, like, kind of at that point, I was like, but man, then you can only have like two before you're sitting here going, all right, well, I guess if I have my third one, I'm committing to, maybe I'm not driving home tonight.
Yeah.
It's like, and I get it, like the restaurant guilds have their work and they've got to keep their business, but that to me is like, it just hurts everybody, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's so like food pop-ups out here, like obviously like they're so like needed, and because I mean not everybody can have a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But when they do, and when you do have a brewery with a kitchen, it's just that much better, because then yeah, like you're going to keep people there longer, and they may have a specific special that they have every once in a while, and you want to go try that, and then you want to pair it with their beer. So
Yep.
but seeing how you're a traveling festival, like, and because I know there's beer festivals a ton out there in Arizona, do you guys ever like, I don't know if you already do incorporate that into your tour, or is that like something that maybe down the road that
It's
maybe?
something I'm working on. So
Okay.
I've I've attended two festivals so far as just like a person to attend and like get my name out there.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do, and there's a guy I know, he runs a company called Exceptional Vibe. He used to basically event management.
Okay.
His opinion is that Arizona doesn't have enough festivals, and I agree. And he's a home brewer, and so he makes lots of festivals. That's just what he does. And one of the things we've talked to him about is I want a beer festival where a customer can pay me for a VIP ticket, and I just get to cut lines. And I get to walk around with a sign, and as many people as I can fit in my van, so 11
Mm-hmm.
people, get a extra VIP ticket, and then I get to cut all the beer lines, go to the front of the lines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not with every partner, maybe not with every single person there. If I could do that with 8 people, 8 different breweries, you've earned your VIP ticket cost. Because
Yeah.
I want, if someone's going to take my tour or use my professional services, I want it to be like, I always want you to get that premium experience. Like, yeah, I got my
100%.
money's worth. It felt right. I get what I don't walk, none of my customers should ever walk away feeling like they ever spent money that they shouldn't have spent.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've thought about tackling that. The beer festivals typically for Arizona are September through November, and then like the first, like, and then like January.
Yeah.
And so I missed, because I was launching, I
Mm-hmm.
missed the first set. And then in January, I actually picked up all of my tours. So I started like all of the beer festival weekends. I actually missed every single beer festival in January this year. And my co-founder had to go to all of them to represent us. So it was an opportunity that just, I wanted to incorporate, and we just missed on timing. So this fall is something I hope to get into a few, like the Arizona Craft Beer Festival is a perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah.
It's a festival for only the winners of the craft beer awards. So that way it's you already know you're already on like the standard of what I offer my customers. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's being able to just I already have partnerships with people that I know are going to win. Like
Yeah.
they make great beer. So then it's just, hey, can I contract with the people in the festival and then contract with the individual breweries that, like, hey, I'm not going to make all the guests angry, make them all jealous. Yes. Like that. Let's make every single one of them jealous.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how we want to solve that.
Yeah. And then, especially with stuff like that, you mentioned like one of the best parts, or one of my favorite things that you said right now was like like that guest experience. You want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth, and that, but then there's also that customer type retention because of those things. Like they're having so much fun, they're going to want to come back, and they're going to want to tell their friends like, hey, or maybe their friend happens to mention, hey, I'm going here to Scottsdale or Phoenix or Scottsdale or something like that. You got to check out this brewery tour. Man, that's awesome.
That's what I haven't had my first repeat customer yet. I've had a good amount of people, say, hey, I'm going to make my friends, or I'm going to make my family do this or
Yeah.
something. So we'll see. I will probably give that person like some kind of fun when I finally get my first repeat customer. But
There you go.
yeah.
Well, I would love to ask you too, like because you've been doing it for about 6 months now, or it's been open about 6 months. Any fun tour stories?
Oh man, probably shouldn't embarrass that one guy.
It's all good. I mean, yeah, no worries.
I had my first bachelor party.
Okay. Yeah.
So group of guys, and
Mm-hmm.
they all knew the groom from very different points in life. There was like two people who played D&D with him, someone he was in a band with,
Okay.
and people from work, people from a previous work, a few people from childhood. This was a group of people that like none of the people there knew each other.
Okay.
So it was 11 people that only knew one of them.
Wow.
That was already just a weird vibe.
Yeah.
It absolutely fun group though. They had like three people who were like wandering drunks, and I think all three of them pre-gamed because I
Okay.
have it set where you don't get drunk until your third and fourth stop.
Okay.
Like I have it where like your first three stops truly are about the tastings.
Yeah.
Your fourth stop, it's also about the tasting, but you're making a commitment that yes, I intend to be drunk tonight.
Yeah.
And I built it that way. I spaced it that way intentionally. But when I get someone drunk on stop number 2,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to like contemplate cutting you off, and then I see you on stop number 3, well, this guy kept wandering around. Just like he would just leave the group.
Jeez.
He went across the street on my fourth stop to a coffee shop and took someone with him. So I turned my back to get waters for the group, came
Mm-hmm.
back, and there's now 9 people. I assumed they went to the bathroom. No, they had left the building, left the parking lot, left the street, crossed
Jeez.
the street to a
Wow.
coffee shop, go in and get kicked out of the coffee shop for attempting to like bite a little sign, like a
Jeez.
little coffee shop sign, right? And I'm like, what? So they come back with this story and photo and video evidence of this experience, and I'm just like, yep, y'all are all cut off.
Yeah.
First and only time I've ever had to cut off customers.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 minutes later, the one who consistently wandered on every stop, but like I'd been corralling him, he took a wrong turn to go to the bathroom and wound up in the kitchen.
Oh, jeez.
The kitchen staff is like, who are you and why are you in here?
Yeah.
And he didn't explain anything because he was hammered. And so they kind of like guide him out. And the head cook looks at me and just shrugs. I'm like, oh, like, sorry. I sent him to the bathroom. I pointed to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been the only person I've had to cut off. And it was a wild experience. But I've had some really fun experiences. I
That's
told you
great, man.
I'll do as low as 1 and as many as 11 in my van. Anything else, I got a charter. If it's up to 35, I got to charter a bus, like a mini coach.
Yeah.
But I had a gentleman. The gentleman from New Jersey was originally from Scotland. He's like 78.
Okay.
And he comes on my tour because his wife is going on had scheduled them both for a quilting expo in Phoenix.
Okay.
And he just noped out.
Yeah. I would have too. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
It turns out he was staying at the same hotel that I was picking up at, and he was just like, Googled brewery tours near my hotel, and it gave me him.
Okay.
And so he was like, oh, cool. And he picks up here. Perfect. And just, he was an absolute blast to have. He
That's
was just
cool.
one guy for the whole day. I didn't have, the rest of the van didn't get booked out that day. And it was just so much fun to like hang out with this guy all day long, hear his stories, hear everything about it. He was just an absolute delight to have. I would take back John Crozier in a heartbeat. Like that
That's
guy.
cool.
It was like, I could introduce this guy to my grandparents and he'd be like grandpa number 2. Like he was awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Lisa, I don't think I know anyone that would want to go to a quilting expo. So
Yeah. I love that. Like he's convinced to go. He shows up in Arizona and then just like I got the scheduling like 48 hours out.
Okay.
Like it wasn't even like this was highly premeditated. This was just like, yeah, I'm just not doing this and I'm out.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious, man.
Like, yeah, that's the way to react to that, I guess.
That's cool though. That's a cool story. I mean, you got to, hang out with him and have some beers, and I'm sure like he was telling you stories, and I'm sure it was
Yeah,
a great time.
it was. And I think that's what I like most about this is I enjoy hearing people's stories. Like I kind of have this belief that like somehow like everyone's story is just a little bit connected.
Yeah,
And getting to interact with people, big groups, little groups, it doesn't really matter. I get to hear these stories and you just get to connect to people from all over the country, even out of the country. I've had a few people from Canada come down. It's you just get all of these stories, and when you're drinking beer, like it's a different experience. Like
100%.
when when you're doing beer versus wine or a whiskey tour, you yourself, the type of person who's doing this, is a
Hmm.
different type of person than that.
Oh yeah,
And when we get people to their pick your own pint stop, people start talking. They
yeah.
want to talk about their story. They want to talk about their life. They want to talk about their mom. They want like the stories come out, and that to me is like it happens on every single tour. Everyone
Okay.
comes in, they're a little bit apprehensive. They get their first tasting, they go behind the
Hmm.
brew house. We go to stop number 2, you get that, and everyone orders their own pint, and all of a sudden they settle into, oh yeah, I I'm here to enjoy myself. I'm here to talk and they all just settle in and start chatting. And that's when I get to hear stories. That's when I get roped into stories. That's when, I was like, it makes it fun to me. That's part of the experience. And it's a lot harder to do like with the really big groups. It's
Of
really hard
course.
to do that. But the pretty much anything under 11, yeah, there's those great connecting points
Of course.
throughout the entire tour. And it's just fun. Those are the parts that I really, really enjoy is when like you just get to be part of someone's story for
Hmm.
5 hours of your day.
Oh yeah. No, I totally understand that aspect of it, man, because like even for me at certain times, like there's times where like, I'll be talking to someone and they may be a little like not standoffish, but like not opening up. But after like we have a beer, then we're
Yep.
like, okay, here we go. Like once they realize we're just having a conversation and we're, just chit chatting, about their
Hmm.
about their life and stuff like that, that's when things really open up. So that's really cool that you do that.
Yeah. I don't know, I didn't know if I was going to like it. Well, like I actually am. Most people don't, people call BS on me all the time because I actually am an introvert.
Hmm.
But I tell people like, yeah, that's me at the house.
Yeah.
I'm at my house and I'm in my own space. I've got my earbuds in and I'm reading a book, like, or
Hmm.
I'm smoking meats, drinking a beer,
Yeah.
ignoring everyone around me because I'm
Gotcha.
recharged.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I don't enjoy the connecting aspect. And I actually was
Yeah.
concerned for myself. I was like, is it going to drain me like too much? And
Yeah.
it's not. I think it's because it's fun because like
Yeah.
I've never been in the business of having fun. And so like now that I'm in the business of having fun, like
Yeah.
they're having fun. I built something that's fun. And like the whole experience is like, yeah, like for 5 hours, I get to potentially get to become someone's core memory. But if
Hmm.
nothing else, they get to have a good time. Like I get to,
Yeah.
when my friends come to town, I I take them to a brewery or I take them out and I'm like, hey, I recommend this or I recommend this. If I show up to a party, like all of this prior to my to my to my tour, like this was normal for me. It was like I'm the friend who's always handing out drinks to my friends. I'm the friend who's showing up with a cooler full of, you know, beer that I want to drink.
Hmm.
Uh, and telling people about, oh, I just went to this place. It was really cool. Like that's it's just like who I've always been. So that fell in perfectly into, if I'm always a person getting my friends drunk and then still getting my friends drunk, I just haven't known you as long.
There you go. Yeah. No, I get that. I tend to have that reputation where it's just like, like I always show up, like if I'm going to a party or something like that, I usually bring craft beer. Just try to, get people out there to get people to try stuff or, stuff like that. But even my buddies, like this entire weekend, or when you and I were DMing this morning, I was like, man, I was a little bearded out after the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Well, it was a long WrestleMania weekend or Easter weekend
Oh,
too.
nice.
Yeah.
I had a friend went to one of the ones in, or was it? I saw his stadium picture. Yeah, he was watching. He went to one of them live this weekend too.
Oh, it was probably in Vegas.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was a lot of craft beer consumed this weekend and a lot of meat, not enough
Yep.
sleep.
Yep.
One thing I always love to ask too, especially when we do these like Instagram kind of spotlight episodes, like places off the beaten path, I call it locals only. Like, where are some other places that you that you like to go to that maybe that aren't as touristy
Hmm.
out in Tempe?
Okay, so for myself, so I'm going to talk tour and then I'm going to talk personal because I
Awesome.
do
Yeah.
both.
Sweet.
So for the tour, I think really bringing in Goldwater Brewing.
Okay.
Goldwater is they brew in Scottsdale, but they're off the Scottsdale Strip. So like you got to go find them. They're not within walking distance of the Strip. And then the location I go, the Crossings, which is the big beer garden, that's essentially Ahwatukee and South Tempe's, lunch drinking spot. Like that's where
Okay.
people just go to get a pint. And so bringing people to that location, I I think really kind of just you just find people that are like, yeah, I'm here for my Thursday beer. Like this
Yeah.
is what I'm doing, and I think that adds like a really unique level of like local grab. Like everything we do is like only in Arizona, but I think that's one that's like Fate Brewing is one of the biggest in the state. If you're in Tempe or Scottsdale or Phoenix,
Yeah.
your odds of going to Fate are pretty high.
Okay.
Catalyst, they're new, but they're in a great spot near the university. They get they get tourist traffic.
Of course.
Six Bird, if you're traveling and you drink cider, like you already know about Six Bird, you
Okay.
know, and so like you're probably going to find your way in there. And then I would say the crossings, yeah, probably just especially that location, the Goldwater Crossings, probably just it's such a special place. Like I like to go there. Like I go there for pints. It's the closest, taproom brewery to my house. So if I'm going 20-minute drive to a brewery, then
Yeah.
like I'm probably going to go there just for a pint because I like the atmosphere.
There you go.
Just like all the other people in Ahwatukee and Tempe, and it's like the little spot to go. So I think I think the hidden spot from like a personal standpoint in the Phoenix area, it's in North Scottsdale, actually in Paradise Valley. So
Okay.
it's like it's out there. You kind of gotta sneak out there. But Bonehouse Brewing
Oh, okay.
makes really good beer, really unique, and it's off the bean path. Like you got to go find it. It is little tap room, kind of just really interesting decor, fun little place. Master brewer's been doing this for years. They make good beer, and it's a fun little like you go find it, and like you go in and there's there's skulls everywhere. There's all these. It's not everyone's vibe. It's just this
Yeah.
weird. You go in and you're like, huh? I need to taste the beer, and beer's pretty good. And it feels like one of those just like little havens. I mean, it is in Paradise Valley. There is not another brewery for 10 plus miles
Wow.
from this location. Like it is the corner of Paradise Valley.
It's awesome.
That would be like that little hidden nugget here in Arizona, in the Phoenix metro area.
Okay. It's good because I want to say my friend, well, someone I met, she's been on the show. I met her through the show. Rachel Benkowski. I'm pretty sure she works
Oh yeah,
at Bonehouse. Yeah.
yeah, I know Rachel.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart. She's so cool.
Oh yeah,
And such
great.
a like, badass, like in the industry too.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, she's been doing a lot of great work here in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. All the stuff that she does at Beer Babes Family and all that sort of stuff is so cool that she, puts all that stuff together.
Yep.
But yeah, I've never been to Bonehouse. I've been wanting to go. Like every time I've gone out there, I just haven't had the chance to. So I'm gonna have to get out there for sure now.
Yeah, there's that one. If you're West Valley, Saddle Mountain.
Okay.
Saddle Mountain Brewing, they're probably the biggest, like hardest hitting West Side brewery because we got Phoenix is West Side, East Side, pretty much how we
Yeah.
lock it up. And they're like the West Side doesn't have a lot of breweries, but that one is like they're there to stay.
Okay.
They came in much like Catalyst with a strong reputation for being able to brew good beer, and then they just back it up. They've been brew. I have not personally been into Saddle Mountain. I've drank quite a few of their beers,
Okay.
many of their collabs, and I'm like, yeah, if this is how you brew your collabs and this is how you brew your beers that you put on other people's taps, like I need to get in. It's just a 45-minute drive from my house, and I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, love that.
A couple more things I wanted to ask you. Oh, I always love to ask like your best book, your favorite burger in your state, but also like your favorite food pairing, like with beer as well. So it's a two-parter there.
Okay, so best burger, I I have to give a tie for
Okay.
Fate Brewing and Arizona Wilderness Brewing.
Ooh, okay.
They both make a Hatch chili burger,
Ooh, nice.
which I don't love a Hatch chili burger, but they made
Hmm.
me love a Hatch chili burger. And
Okay.
so I can appreciate that they both really put in the effort to make a really solid, not overpowering chili, but like really great flavor. You get like a solid burger out of it. It's a good burger. So
Okay.
I would go either of those. You go in that direction. I don't get sad.
Love it.
My favorite pairing with a beer. There's a little brewery. They're closing the tap room. They're just going distribution.
Okay.
Called Walter Station. It's right near the airport. They make a roast beef French dip wagyu
Ooh.
sauce sandwich. So you get your little sandwich of roast beef and you dip it in your wagyu. And it was like the perfect level of like flavor and depth and everything you wanted out of that. And I can promise you probably like for the better part of 6 to 8 months, my Thursdays when I was working at Carvana, I would go for lunch,
Okay.
go there, order a beer, and get that for my sandwich. And that was just so consistently good
Love it.
that I did it once on a recommendation from the serving staff,
Hmm.
and then I would just come back for that combo.
That's awesome.
So I think that one has become like, I'll even try other people's like their sandwich, like that sandwich too. They did something to their wagyu sauce. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste good until you dip it. Once you dip it, you're like, okay, I'm done. I can
Yeah.
drink it. I can drink a couple of pints, eat this, and I am having a good time.
There you go. That sounds awesome. That sounds so good.
It was so good.
That's
It's so
it.
bad they're closing the tap room.
Oh, I know. You're like, come on, one more sandwich. One of the things, the last thing I've left, well, actually, there's two things left. One of them is desert island beers. So I would say you could pick one domestic, one craft. It doesn't have to be like the craft doesn't necessarily have to be a specific beer. It could be a style if you wanted to as well.
Can I break the domestic rule and
Yeah.
do an import?
Yeah.
So that one's easier because
Okay.
I think I would land on the Pilsner Urquell.
Okay.
The Czech Pilsner.
It's great.
It's a great Pilsner. You can drink it on a hot day. You can drink it if you want to slam a couple. You can. You just get drunk a little fast.
Yeah.
And it's got good flavor. So it's like in that space of like, it is a Pilsner, but it's got flavor layered. And you can, I think I could do that. For craft beer, that is so much harder.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Man, where do you land on that? I'm going to think on it for a second.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, my domestic is hams.
Okay.
The craft, it's so hard to choose just one. Like, because I would love to pick like Big Spill Pills or something like that from like Wren House, but it is like it's like drinking another Pilsner, like that's definitely like with hams or something like that. So I would probably just lean towards like the style when it comes to like I would just pick like a West Coast. Like
Okay.
there's just so many good West Coast that I wouldn't be able to choose.
Just give me a good. Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
I kind of think like as much as I love my ambers and reds, I'd have to say I couldn't do that. Like put me on a desert island, I'd be good for one or two, but I don't want that to be the only beer I'm drinking.
Yeah.
I kind of like I think this is gonna break me here, but
It's
because it's not gonna break me. It's gonna break anyone who hears me who actually knows me deeply. It's gonna be like I think I have recently developed a taste for a New England IPA.
okay.
And I think as long as and I could list a couple, as long as doesn't have the bitter carry all the way through the flavor profile and it dies away, I think that's what I would enjoy. Just a good bitter up front and then die it away. There's one right now that I've liked called Boston Accent from Goldwater. That's a fun collab. Oh, I should tell you this. That collab, the name Boston Accent.
Yeah.
The Chad McClellan and the brewer from Goldwater and Four Peaks brewer had never met.
Okay.
One of them is aggressively Australian.
All right.
Accent from Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
like still has the accent after been brewing here 20 years. The other
Yeah.
one not. And so they born and raised in Arizona, don't have an accent really.
Mm-hmm.
And then they met up and they're having their little collab about what they were going to make and how it was going to go. And one of them goes, "Hey, you got an accent. Where are you from? Boston or something?"
Yeah.
And so they named Boston accent after the Australian brewmaster.
Okay.
Uh, and good joke all around for everybody.
Love it.
I like that collab, and I've been drinking it kind of regularly. And then there's
Okay.
one from Catalyst that they just tapped it this week, so maybe I wouldn't want to be stuck on a desert island with it. But I have drank. I tasted that because I'll go in and I'll do tastings between tours. So if I don't have a tour, I'll go in every other week or something just to see if they got something new.
Okay.
Not to every partner, but like I kind of rotate. I probably do that every 6 weeks.
Awesome.
So I went in and they had just tapped it. It's called the South Mountain Glow or the North Mountain Glow. And they're calling it a hazy New England IPA.
Okay.
And it's so freaking good. And I was like a little bit mad at Will and Alex for making me an IPA that I was like, why are you doing this to me? I'm like almost an anti-IPA guy sometimes.
Yeah.
But I have really gotten to where I appreciate New England IPAs. And so I would be okay with that. Like I said, as long as it dies away. And Fate makes a good New England too. They make the Fateful IPA is in New England, and it hits you right in the front with the bitter and then dies away. And that to me, I think is what makes it. Those are the kinds I like. So yeah,
that's awesome, man.
I could do something like that just so that it wouldn't be plain. I would want something like if it's the only beer, I want something with at least a layered profile.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
That's
man.
crushing.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the things I love. Like, I mean, especially like out here, what a lot of breweries are doing, they're making like those West Coast Pilsners. I mean, I don't know. I think I had maybe 4 or 5 on Saturday, West Coast Pilsners.
Oh, nice.
Because like they were like, because they're super hoppy up front. You get like a little bit of business. There's nothing lingering on the palate, but they just go down so easy. It's like,
so nice.
And they're like 5.3, so it's like you're not getting super, hammered or anything like that, but super crushable, man. And that's what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say that there's so much great beer out there. Like, there's no excuse. Like, there's a beer out there for everybody.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
and I think that's what's been fun about this as well. Is like I've had the opportunity to do like 21st birthday parties. Or bring people on tours that are like, hey, I don't bring beer. I'm like, cool. I got something for you.
Yeah.
We have, so all of our stops, they do a seltzer.
Okay.
Or they partner with someone who does a seltzer or a cider. And I like to, that's another reason I bring them to Catalyst is if I find out someone's a non-beer drinker,
yeah,
I can give them an entire flight of Catalysts, their seltzers. And they do amazing fruited seltzers that until about 9 months ago, I would have said, I will not drink craft seltzers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just did not like them. I did not like the flavoring. And I was basing a lot of that off of like the domestic seltzers. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But, like, I was just like, I'm not going to go to a brewery and order that. And then when I was partnering with them, like, we did taste their tap line. And that was one of the things that I was mind blown how good they do their seltzers. Because they take the care. Like,
of
they
course,
want to do.
Yeah.
And so I like being like people finding out that one, seltzer is beer, and two, that I can like give you a flight of craft seltzers, and you're like, I guess I like craft beer now, and you're like, yeah. So I love being able to help people find their beer.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Oh. I have one last question before I get into ask you that one, because it's always one I leave off, and I like to ask everybody at the end of every episode. But man, this has been so fun.
I agree. I appreciate it. I've had so much fun chatting with you today.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things I love about this. Like, I know we talked about it. Like, we've never met each other, but we've exchanged a DM or two. But that's but we've been able to sit here for about an hour, have a fun conversation, and hear about your festivals. I mean, hear about your festival tour. I had to throw that back in there.
Oh man, I'm so glad it didn't come out that way too, because it was the fact that it was an actual real possibility.
I know, that's crazy. That's still be
Traveling festival.
It was the first time for everything, right?
There is.
Oh man! But the last question I want to ask you. This one is Daniel Drennan from Beer Paper told me I should add this to the end of my episodes. After him and I had a beer back in January, he said, always end it by asking them like, "What's if you had to describe yourself in one word? What would it be?"
I did not expect that question.
No.
I think I try to be really genuine, and I think that I don't know if it's disingenuous to say that that's maybe
Not
my
at all, man. Not at
description, but I think I try to be that way with people, and I think that most people would agree with that. I have plenty of other people. People can say driven. People can say cocky. I get that sometimes, but I do try to be genuine about who I am and just how I interact with people in the world. And
it's great.
To me, that's what I think. If I had to describe it in one word, I think that's where I try to land as a human.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I hadn't expected that question at all. So
okay.
No, that's good though. I actually love that you asked that because that's like,
yeah,
that's an insight that like, that's cool. Love that.
And I love the answer because if there was more people out there that were just genuine and not fake, and stuff like that, like the world would be a lot better place.
I agree with that. I think people could, you don't have to wear, I wore a mask for a long time as to who I was and how I was going to interact with this world.
Yeah.
And then I interacted with some of my best friends now are incredibly genuine people. And the thing, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And
100%.
I think they've rubbed off on me on more good ways than likely. But I think that's where I try to land.
It's awesome. Everybody listening, make sure you go follow on Instagram. And if you're in the Tempe area, Scottsdale area, Phoenix area, follow at AZ Brew Hopping on Instagram and take the tour. Might end up at a festival too. So you never know it's in the works. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, if I can get over even for just a couple hours to have a couple beers with you, I'd love to do that.
Definitely. Just let me know when you're in town. I'll make sure I block off the afternoon or morning, depending on where we go.
Yeah, I'll see what the I guess the itinerary is for when we're out there. But I want to say I'm going to be out there the weekend. I think it's the 16th. Let me just double check here. Yeah. I'm going to be out there the 16th, 17th. I'm coming back on the 18th.
Okay. Yeah, double check. I think I'm actually free. Yeah, I'm free-ish.
Okay.
That weekend. So just let me know.
Yeah, like the week before or something.
Yeah, I'm probably better in the evenings.
Okay.
As like a guarantee, can probably do it. Afternoons, happy to block it off as long as you let me know. Like it's either the 16th or the 17th. I'll just block it off. No tour there. And go get a beer.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Sounds like
happy
a good time.
Let me know. Just let me know what that looks like, and we'll figure out an itinerary and where we're gonna meet up at.
Sounds great, man. Well, again, everybody listen. Thank you, John. Or do you prefer John or Jonathan?
Actually, I go by both. I introduce myself as John because Jonathan feels very formal, and so when I write emails or like on my name tape, it says Jonathan. But I pretty much tell people I'm John. If someone uses Jonathan, sure, more power to you. You wanted to use the extra syllables,
yeah. There you go. Oh man, no, but thank you again for being on. Looking forward to meeting you if we can get a beer out there. And like I said, everybody, if you're in the area, check it out. Go on a brewery tour. You may find something that you may not know you liked. Thank you again, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute honor getting to be on with you and getting to just chat and meet you. And I've really enjoyed this morning, so thank you.
Oh, it's been a fun one, man. But yeah, we'll stick around and chat for a couple minutes. But everybody, like I said, go out and follow on Instagram, AZ Brew Hopping, and get out there and find your beer. Cheers. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a really fun interview with Jonathan. Next week's episode is going to be the Masa episode when we recorded over at Native Son for his, obviously for his beer that he's brewing, Ikasu Brewing. Super stoked for you guys to hear that one. The week after that will be Erica from Burning Bridge. And then the week after that will be Tim from Branding for Breweries and then Paperback. So some great episodes coming up. I'm excited for Beer Fest coming up. Oh, and if you guys are going to Beer Fest, and if you see me there, make sure you come up. I'm actually going to have a bunch of stickers made. And if you guys haven't seen it on Instagram, go check out the latest reel that I did. It's the Pokemon themed card that my brother Jake designed at Wild O'Reilly Supply. So if you ever want stickers or like sticker designs or t-shirt designs or can artwork, if you're a brewery, he does really great work. He's really diverse in all of his stuff. Yeah, I'm plugging my brother again, like I always do. That sounded weird. But yeah. Yeah, if you ever need anything like that, he's the guy to go to, and he charges it. Like when it comes to other people in the industry that, can kind of charge quite a bit, he actually charges a lot less. So what do we got? That's about it. So I'm going to but going back to Beer Fest, if you guys see me there, I'm going to make those like the sticker cards, and I'm probably going to have like 300 of them. So if you see me, I'm going to make some holographics. I'm going to make some regular. So you might get a holo, you might get a regular one. Who knows? All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of, or you enjoy it. Well, this will be out Sunday. So enjoy your Sunday. And yeah, I'm going to go. Actually, I got an electric berry lemonade from Dutch Bros right now. So I'm about to pound that, and I'm going to finish this beer. All right, guys. So I hope you guys had a great weekend and enjoy your Sunday. Next week's Memorial Day. I'm going to be in Palm Springs. Looking forward to it. All right, guys. Cheers. And don't forget to support local, drink local, and find your beer. Cheers.